Rainier Valley Historical Society's mission is to collect, preserve, exhibit, and interpret the history and heritage of Rainier Valley and its people, and to promote public involvement in and appreciation of it. Our boundaries are from Dearborn Street to Seattle city limits and from I-5 to Lake Washington.
My name is Edna Fortuné, Edna Sarah Fortuné.
Yeah, the whole thing. Or whatever. I mean, Edna's not too long. Does Sarah have an H?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Fortuné, Fortune, with an acute accent.
Okay. You came to Seattle in 88?
For the last time.
And but you had been here, you had your sisters here or something. Tell me how you ended up here.
The last holdout. Well, let's see. My sister, who lives on Beacon Hill, was the first to come. I can't remember when, 63, 64, something like that. And she had 4 girls. She has 4 girls. And then
And why did she come? I'm sorry.
She came because her husband, who was her college sweetheart from Dillard University, he played football. His aunt lived up here, and they were just getting started. Sheila was born by then, my first niece. She was born by then. So to help them get started, Aunt Pearl said, move up to Seattle. I have this big house, you can rent it, and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, that's how she got here. Then let's see. Okay, then my sister, who lives on 43rd, came about 3 or 4 years later. Her marriage had failed. She was married to this real dog. Anyway, she took care of that business, and then she came up here. And we've been here ever since. My mom came.
And this one?
Let me see. Patricia ended up on 43rd about 3 years after she got to Seattle. Until then, she was living in the apartment building that my sister was living in on Madison Street or something like that.
Okay.
I can't remember. It was anyway. And let's see. Then my first sister lived in Holly Park first.
Okay.
Yeah, they used to eat outside. She used to just cook dinner in the summer and take everything down to Stewart Park and eat out there and stuff. The girls grew up really well with her, and she got a divorce. Anyways, no, she moved when she first moved from Holly Park. She bought this little house on 22nd, right where you begin the old the new first part of Holly Park.
Okay.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
right there by 22nd or 23rd. Corner house. Anyway, then my sister came. Then, after my dad died in 68, it must have been before 65 that my sister came too. I can't remember, that all gets kind of, but after my dad died, my mom moved up here. She was almost 60. Almost 60, anyway. She moved up here. She learned to drive. She got a job with the school system up here.
Wow.
In nutrition.
Oh.
She wanted to be manager of God knows how many little schools in some little cluster in Seattle. I don't know. She retired from the school system and lived to be 90 on Capitol Hill. She had a good time. Anyway, that's how they got up here. And I got up here, I came up here a couple of times. My sister who lives on Beacon Hill bailed me out of a couple of hard things. I mean, she was the one I called when I needed. When I was in Detroit thinking I was going to be a singer, I'd had it, and I was pregnant. I called my sister, I said, 3 months was all I could do. I said, Lord, I'm going to die if I don't get out of here. I got to go home. She says, I'll send you a one-way bus ticket to Seattle. So I came to Seattle that one time, and then I went. Then my friends in the French Quarter. That was when I left the French Quarter the first time for a long time. And then my friends in the French Quarter, they all took up a collection and sent me a bus ticket back. I was pregnant. They all took care of me and everything. They rubbed my belly and all this stuff.
Was that Jasmine or Josh?
No, that was neither. Yeah, I gave this baby up for adoption.
Really?
Yeah. My mom and dad wanted me to keep it because I'll never forget, my dad cried the morning I was going to go and have that baby. He sat on the bed and he said, you know, I was really ashamed because that's how you felt in those, good Catholics. You're guilty. You feel bad. You're doing right. Anyway, but I truly felt bad because I disappointed my first love of my life, my dad. My first true love, But my dad gently took me by the hand and he said, your mom and I will take care of that baby for you. And I said, Daddy, you and Mom have raised 8 of us. You're tired now and this is not your responsibility. And I loved him so much. Our relationship took a whole new meaning after that day, and then he was gone in 60 days. But anyway, so he helped me feel okay about that. And then the lady from the Children's Society, she was so nice to me. It was the first time I ever got in Detroit. Lord, today you couldn't pick somebody from home. But I was into ethnicity, so it was Polish. I'm terrible. No, I'm just well. I think I'm a very well-rounded individual. Anyway, so my friend sent for me, and I had a good time being pregnant and all that stuff. And then, when the Vietnam War was really and people were running off to Canada and stuff like this, we met this guy named Bill who was on leave, and they were going to send him. He had been to Vietnam, and they were going to send him back. No, that's not right. He hadn't been to Vietnam yet. He had been to boot camp, and he had been like maybe a couple of months out of boot camp, and then they were going to send him to Vietnam. So we met him in a bar one night. Didn't know him from Adam. He was drunk and everything. Next thing you know, you're not going there. We're going to get you to Canada, So we took him in, man. We let him live with us for 3 months, and with those 3 months, this Gemini guy named David bought this little Metro Mite. It's a little minivan. It used to be for it's a little International Harvester. It used to be. Write a book.
You should.
Shoot, but see, I don't never sit down and talk to myself about it.
Alright, so he gutted the van.
Yeah, and then he gutted the van, and then he made these little lofts on each side. Well, but it still was real small. And then he did some other little seat things and kind of bunk sort of things, and had lids where you could store stuff and stuff like that. 9 of us, and we painted it all psychedelic. We drew windows. I remember that. We drew windows on it, and we had people waving out the window with their hair flying like this. I'll never forget that little van, man. It was a cool little thing. And we said, we're going to get this guy out of Louisiana in this van. 9 of us go back like so.
And you're pregnant, right?
No, that was after.
It was after. Okay.
9 of us, girl. We got in that thing. I said, let's go to California. Everybody said, yeah, let's go to Berkeley. It's cool there. We went to Berkeley. A Filipino guy and his wife who owned a gas station let us park our van there and use the bathroom facilities. We stayed a week. They said, you stay as long as you want. They brought us food. They were cool to us, and Bill was with us sharing all this, and this was great. One of the people could play guitar, and somebody else could play another instrument. Somebody had his flute. We were good to go. Then, on our last day before we left Berkeley, this guy, and we loved his dog, and his dog loved us.
Bill's dog?
No, this guy, this guy, So, he and his wife invited us to come and have lunch the day we left. It was a Sunday. And girl, they pulled out all the stuff, man. There was food from one end of the kitchen to the other. And before we left, they had given us their dog.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a cool trip. Okay, so we're still trying to figure out how to get Bill. So let's go to Seattle. I have a sister who lives there. You know, she's been cool to me before. This is when she was living in that house on 22nd. But by the time we got to California, there were only Barbara Rhodes, David, Bill, and me. Everybody else decided, well, now we're going to stay in California. You know, we're going to be cool. So they stay in California. So we took the little van. We came down, visited my sister in her basement. She let us stay in the basement, and it was all furnished and everything. Okay. So, about 3 days after we were there, she found out that we had this guy AWOL. And she had to tell her husband, you know, he hit the roof, man. He hit the roof. But she didn't let that be part of the decision to, you know, these kids are in trouble, and that's my sister. And Edna, you better get that white boy out of my house before the cops come here asking, where's that army boy? But she let us take our time. We were out in about a week, but in that week, David sat on the back. I'll never forget this. He took the engine out of that, and all the way from New Orleans to all these trips, that boy was servicing under that hood. If something conked out, he'd find someplace, he'd buy a part, put it in, and we'd go on. He took the whole engine out and he cleaned every part and put it all back together. Take a Gemini along on a long driving trip. So anyway, from Seattle, we got Bill on a bus to Canada.
Wow.
That was our
It's your contribution.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you know, yeah. Because my oldest brother went for 2 tours of Vietnam. The second time he went was so that my middle brother wouldn't have to go.
Really?
Yeah. He gave him I didn't find this out until after my mom died. My little brother told me this. He said, you know, I was there. He said, Philip sat little brother down and he told little brother what it's like. He said his mind was already half maimed as it is. So if the brother decided he didn't want his mind maimed at all, he would take up the staff and go again to keep him from going. And so, you know, I said, wow, you know, what did little brother say? He said, little brother just cried and 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 cried. I said, man, I feel so bad because I feel so chicken shit and I feel so guilty, but I don't want that to happen to me. My brother said, I'm your man. And he took that second tour. When he came back, of course, wow, he's mean when he came back. You can't, oh man, it takes a powerful, powerful entity to be able to get through that and, I mean, not manifest all you've seen and experienced in all these negative ways. I mean, it's hard. I can't imagine what these people are going through now with this Iraq war, with the Gulf War, with the war, oh man. And for that, I think my brother was the most special human being that God ever made. And man, when he died, man, he had 2 funerals. They buried him they didn't bury him, but they had a funeral at our parish church in New Orleans, Corpus Christi. We had gone from Corpus Christi years and years, but there was still one priest left who was there when we were originally there. There's always 5 or 6 there. There was a big rectory. And they gave him a beautiful funeral there, and then they flew his body to Arlington, man, and they flew my mom and my mom out there and my sister to be with my mom. And they gave him that military funeral. Wow. He got medals and stuff. So now my middle brother that my oldest brother saved from going to Vietnam was he He was in the Army too. He was in the medical corps. It was kind of like para, you know. And he took blood from Eleanor Roosevelt because she asked for him by name.
Really?
Because his reputation was so good for his velvet touch. You know.
That's good.
I know, girl. Shoot, girl.
Touch with fame.
I know, Lord. What can I say, child? And now he's retired. I don't know, him and my middle sister, man, they still working. He got another 40-hour job in the post office. Well, that was sort of destiny. We're a post office brood.
Oh, are you?
My father retired from the post office. And so now he's in the post office. And he moved into this beautiful house in Georgia. It has this beautiful cement swimming pool. You know what he did with that pool? Shit, he filled that with dirt. He's got a beautiful garden. He's eating out of that pool.
That's great.
Don't you love that?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, God. I don't know what subject I was on when I came off.
Can you talk a little bit about, like, it sounds like you were definitely part of this kind of counterculture thing that was going on. What kind of connection did that have to the political movements, you know, like civil rights movement or anti-war movement or whatever? Were you involved with that stuff too?
Oh, Lord, yeah. Yeah. Very much so. Well, that whole arrest at the Quorum, that was about the civil rights issue too.
Okay.
Yeah. But then other than that, you know, yeah, I went through Mississippi and I was there around the time Cheney, Schwerner, and Goodman were killed, and I remember being frightened out of my socks. And people would take us in, you know, we were freedom fighters, and we had to stay in our boots and fully clothed to go to bed and stuff because we never knew when we had to run. It was really like that. Nothing happened to us like that, but there was always the risk. But mostly from those times, I don't know, I've become kind of, I don't want to say cynical. I'm dissatisfied that the results of that whole movement have not been carried forward. You know, we're slipping again. But I think one of the good things that I see is that like my daughter's generation, those 22-year-olds, and like Simon and those guys, their generations, they're going to be more free thinkers, sort of like you are. I don't know where he came from, but somebody, you know, there's people in your background that did some really nice things when it comes to educating you about the world. I don't know who they are, where they've been. I'm sure if they really opened up, you'd probably be sitting just like this while they're talking. I bet they have many things to tell you that you just never would have known and would be so delighted to hear about. Anyway, girl. So anyway, yeah, we did that. And I'm disappointed because, and this is another thing that disappoints me, a lot of the people when I was going to college and hanging out in the French Quarter, that 5 years, that's like a 7-year period, a lot of those people deceived me into thinking that they really thought like this, you know. But when things got bad for free thinkers in that particular time, they went back home to where the money was, and then they went back to school, and then they got out of school, and now they're some of the core ones that are making it hard for everybody else. That's what I see going on. I mean, what people call yuppies, that it's a word that's been, you know, flagged around, but what it originally meant was, you know, these ex-hippies who got it together in their heads and stopped rebelling against the money in their families and used it, and now they're using it against the very people who helped them to feel okay about having thoughts other than the ones you're brought up to have. You know, and I feel like that was kind of like a betrayal. And I think the United States of America is suffering for it. But we shall not be moved like a tree that's standing by the water. And we shall overcome. I mean, you know, how many times in history has this whole scenario come down, you know? I just have to put it up to, I hope I'm here, still among the living, when the cycle picks up when it goes through that little bump again. You know, I think we're kind of in it now. I think there's been beginnings of it, like since maybe 75, but it's, you know, it's like you know. But now with this war in Iraq and stuff, I don't know, man. I don't know if people are going to be sitting still for that much longer. And I really appreciate the people in your generation who have gone out there. I mean, you know, there are old people who still have the energy to go and do it, but me particularly, I don't have the energy anymore. And I'm glad to pass the man along to somebody who's got the energy. But I'm so proud. Michaela, I am so proud of you and Andrew and Sadie's mom and dad and all, you know, Nana's people, all these people who are right there where I was at when I was at your age, man. You know, in your humanness, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate that so much, man. It's like, you know, and it's something that I didn't find a lot when I was working in Head Start. I had to search. I had to do some searching. I mean, even staff. I couldn't find staff that kind of halfway agreed with anything I had to say about stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why that is, but I sure appreciate it. I sure do, you know. I mean, you know, because I came looking, I have to be honest, I came into this Montessori private school work with preconceived conclusions about, you know, people who put their children in settings like that, you know, about their income levels, you know, stuff like, you know, I mean, having come from a background of more than 25 years of working with underprivileged, right. But see, underprivileged, that's another word they like to throw around that could take on any meaning at any time. Mm-hmm. But I mean mostly financially underprivileged. And see, so I came with prejudices, see, and you know, and they turned out to be wrong, and I'm so glad. You know, but I gotta say, and this is my pat on my own back, and I do this often for myself because, hey, if you can't pat yourself on the back, don't be expecting somebody else to do it, because, you know. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm proud to say that. Yeah. When I'm wrong, it's okay. That's good. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I could live without ever being wrong, Lord ever. Ooh, Lord, if being wrong could kill you, I wouldn't have been born. Girl, I know how to be wrong, you hear me? It is just in it's just since 45 or 46 that I'm able to be okay with that. That's all that thinking about, what is this one gonna say? What is that one gonna say? I kind of leaned toward that when I had that first pregnancy. You know, after a while I got to the point where I really didn't give a shit what people said. Mm-hmm. And I think that the only reason that I did when I did was because of how my parents would feel, because that's the school of thought that they came from. Oh, what will the neighbors say about my children? You know, right. There's so much a there's so much a reflection of us, we think. Mm-hmm. Nothing could be further from the truth. Well, yeah, in some respects, respects, but not basically. No. Ooh, girl, I took up your whole morning, child. No, that's good. Well, this has been good. You know, I never have a chance to reminisce this way. I know. This is lovely. Actually, I do this with Doug sometimes. Actually, every time I see him, I have to do something because he's always ready.
He sounds like a good guy.
He's fun. I call him literary man. He's so much fun. He reads a lot and he writes, and he's the one who told me, who defined the word for the feeling that I had one time when I was calling him from Head Start. Something had happened in school that day, and I was just feeling so extraordinary, and I was just whacked out, man. I was just like, phew, I was out in the cosmos. I mean, that's the feeling that I had from some little stuff that went on at school that day. And he said, so, we're having feelings of luminosity. I said, wow, what does that mean? Numinosity. So I said, wow, what does that mean? So he told me, and so when I use that word, I described somebody as being luminous one day, and they didn't get it. So I tried to make them understand what I meant, and I couldn't get the definition like the dictionary has it. So we went to look in the dictionary. We couldn't find it.
Oh, no.
She didn't believe that it was a real word because we couldn't find it in her dictionary. And I said, God, I'm sure it's a real word. I mean, after all, literary man told me it has a meaning, and I believe everything he says about words. I do. So, it's in that dictionary there. Collegiate, Webster's Collegiate, and now I let it be my guide word if I'm shopping for a dictionary, which I don't do often. I've only done it once in this life. For Jazzy.
I have that word in it.
I sat for an hour at, what's the name of that place by City Kitchens?
Oh, Red and Black things? No.
Not Barnes and Noble. What's the other one?
Oh, Borders.
That's the one. I sat there for an hour on one of those little stools, And the dictionary section is only so big.
Right.
I sat for an hour, girl. I was thumbing through dictionary after dictionary. I was determined I was going to get that girl a dictionary, a good dictionary, and that's how that was my guide word. I finally found one.
Exactly?
Let me show it to you, because I would mess it up. I'd mess up the meaning just trying to tell you what it is.
Stir this while
Please, darling, and if it turns into just keep doing that to the front. I love that Play-Doh.
Beautiful. It's like nacho color.
Yeah, I'm tired of the old red and green and blue. LMN. And now I used to read to educate myself, about certain things. I used to read history a lot. I used to love reading history and biographies and stuff. Now I'll go there again, I'm sure. But right now, I'm into just reading for the sheer entertainment of it.
Yep.
And girl, the words I'm coming across. Honey, this is why the dictionary is always there. I am always in it, girl. And I keep this little running list, and I sort of try to extend my vocabulary that way.
Yeah.
The other thing is, in the one set of like 28 or 30 detective stories about this one detective and his friend Hawk. This guy imparts some beautiful, good taste and recipes in this book.
Oh, really?
He doesn't measure, you don't get measurements.
Right.
But you can figure it out.
Yeah.
Girl, good stuff.
Tell me that. That sounds good.
Oh, man. Oh, look at you. You've made this before, huh?
Is that done?
Keep turning. Turn it again. Okay, here's your word.
Okay, numinosity.
N-U-M-I. Girl. I know you're here, darling. Oh, yeah, here you are. At the bottom. Luminous. Here. Give me the spoon.
Pertaining to or like a Newman. Thanks, Edna. No, sorry. Spiritual or supernatural, surpassing comprehension or understanding, mysterious, arousing one's elevated feelings of duty, honor, loyalty, etc. That's great.
Isn't it a great word?
It is a great word.
It describes the feeling.
And Newman means a divine or supernatural power or presence, especially as associated with a particular place or object, That is so cool.
That's me and my, my children throughout the ages since 1978.
What a great work.
Yeah, isn't it though? Oh, I love Doug for that. Oh man.
That's so great.
I said, man, you're describing what I go through constantly, and it is a constant thing. That's the thing that really trips me out.
Yeah.
I go through it all the time when I'm talking to him about my kids at school, or oh Lord, I just go through this. I do, and his eyebrows will lift now, knowingly, like, oh, I know what you're going through.
Well, do you want to tell me one more food story before the tape runs out?
Let's see, eggnog.
Oh,
I'll even give you a recipe.
Great.
I never had cold eggnog till I left the South. There's no such thing as cold eggnog, I guess. There. It's hot and it's good. And
is it a Christmas thing?
well, it's a winter thing.
Okay.
Like Christmas is the first time in the winter that you really find a reason to have it. Then after that, you just have it till the weather gets hot.
Okay.
And when my mom used to make it, she'd make, see that pot up there? Big pots like that for us, And then, of course, they'd have their little hard liquor to put in their little cups. But I never did like it with the whiskey in it. I like it just plain. And when I was about 40, I asked my mama for the recipe, and she wrote it out for me. I've lost it since, but now I can make it well enough. I can make a cup of it now if I. And she, so I won't give you any measurements. Well, I can try, but I don't think you can really mess it up.
You want to just tell me, or you want to give it to me later written down?
What you want me to do?
I don't care.
You're so
You
easy.
can tell me now.
He's so
be over.
That's why Andrew likes you, because you're so easy.
I don't think he would say that.
Oh, my girl. Let's see. Well, I'll tell you the basic things that you make it with. And it's real simple. Eggs, sugar, and milk. And nutmeg, always. You just, this is like for, if you want to make a 4-quart pot or something like that. Okay. You use 2 cups of milk, and you just get the chill off of it. You warm it up slowly. And while you're warming it up, you take 4 eggs, the yolks, and you put them in a dish with about a cup of sugar, and cream that until it's real light and it can ribbon off your spoon. And then by then your milk will be nice, and you turn up just a little bit, and then you just pour. That's like a pudding base is really what it is. So you just keep cooking that in there, while until it's all in there, and then you turn it down again, and you just keep watching it and stirring it so it doesn't stick and stuff like that. And then you just, when it looks like it's about as the consistency is kind of like you want it, then you get whipping cream. I like heavy whipping cream. And you can put about, let's see, the 2 cups. You can put even a whole quart of that in there, girl. If you ain't gonna make it rich, let's face it, don't make it. Because it's not supposed to be any of it.
Right.
And so you put that in there, and then while that's cooking, you turn it real low. Then you beat your egg whites. You get them nice and fluffy, and then some people like to fold them in and then sprinkle a nutmeg on top. But this is what I modified it. I fold in my egg whites, and then I take about a whole tablespoon of nutmeg, and then I just mix that in with it and fold it all in it. It is so good, and it's done in about 30 minutes. Good.
All right.
I have.
Sign me up.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, I'll make you some this year, girl. I am torn up the parties, honey, bringing that stuff with me. Now, Doug gives great house parties. He's a theme person. What is that? I asked him, I said, what is this about? What is it with you, the white boys in the Northwest, with your theme parties? Can't you just have a party where you're going to eat, you're going to do a little drinking, you're going to dance. You might do a little talking, but you ain't talking about work. I said, what is it with you? You got to have a theme. Girl, one night, he's got this great house in the U District. It's right across the street, kind of like that, from the, what do you call it? The University Hotel, the University Plaza Hotel.
Okay.
You know, the second house from the corner. Big, beautiful house. So he's got this big old extra bedroom. One time we had a party over there. We walked in the door. Here's somebody with sparkles in her face, and she was handing out little cards in the basket. It has a subject on it, like Groucho Marx or whatever, you know. And then 4 more people at the party got cards with the same thing. You know, so they, like, when you get there, by the time they're ready to start their little stuff, everybody's got a little group to be in, but you didn't know who would. Okay. And man, we did a Groucho Marx skit. Girl, and this is what you do. You say, oh, well, I don't know if I can do this because, let me see. I need a cigar. I need a prop. He said, go upstairs. Girl, you go up there in that big, big bedroom in that big old walk-in closet. There's nothing but props.
Wow.
Wigs, hats, glasses, shoes, jewelry, boas, dresses, everything, girl, that different members of our little circle find from thrift stores, you know, at random and just give them to them.
That's great.
We have some fun, girl. That is nobody calling me except somebody wanting to sell something, and I don't feel like saying no, I don't want it. If it's real important, though, the message. Oh, it feels good. I got to give a little piece to Hannah, though. I ain't giving none to Mark because he's too young yet. He would be eating it all. It's so salty.
Oh, yeah. Simon keeps trying to eat it.
Oh, man. I had this one little Egyptian boy in Head Start. Now, he was an over-income kid, but I had to fight to get him in, too, man. He wasn't talking. He was 4 and he would not talk. He just, everybody thought he was autistic, and I was thinking he refused to talk. Given, you know, well, you know, anyway. That boy used to eat that Play-Doh. Ooh, girl, we'd find him hiding in the corners just eating it. Oh, Lord.
Maybe he had some kind of like salt craving.
You know, deficiency.
Yeah. Like pizza or something.
You're probably right.
I don't know.
You're probably right. I remember my first mistake with culture and language and stuff professionally was to tell his parents because they were trying to figure out, you know, what to do to get him to talk. So I asked them, I really overstepped too. I was a little classroom aide, didn't know nothing, thought I knew. And I asked them what language they spoke at home. And I told them, well, you know, maybe it would be better if you spoke English at home, you know. Whoa. The assistant teacher took me, ooh, baby, she took me to task for that shit. She said, you really overstepped your bounds, young lady. And then Betty, I love her to death. She's a Pomo Indian. They're really, do you say peculiar to that area, indigenous? Of that area of Clear Lake and Lower Lake and up in Lake County in California. Okay. Lots of Pomo Indians. I don't know what I was talking about. I just talk. Now, just because Josie is bigger does not mean she gets a bigger piece.
Oh, Simon will be happy to hear that.
They have to share it equally or they can't.
All right, I'll tell him. Last night he was out in the garden. He was using the little clippers to clip off this hedge, you know. And Josie wanted to turn with it, and he kept turning to her and saying, "No, only for grown-ups, only for grown-ups." And then he'd be, she was trying to get him to understand, like, you know, you can't say that, and you're using it, you know. But he just like, no,
please. That's not love.
He doesn't put up with anything.
Yeah.
He let her get away with it.
He's so cool. You have cool kids. I like your kids so much. I like your whole family so much. I think you're a really neat family. One of my little models. Another one of, now my model couple is Leslie and Jamie.
Oh, yeah.
That's my model couple. Oh.